Welcome, everyone, to episode 91 of the RDH Sports Podcast. We're officially back for the NFL season, boys. And the NFL draft, of course. We're always going to do the draft. But I'm your host, Chad. Alongside me is my brother, Tanner. I'm in a dungeon, and Tanner's, upstairs in a room that actually has light in it. But how's it hanging, dude? How's the summer been? And you ready to get back into it after, a little off season?
It wouldn't be an RDH Sports Podcast if I didn't start without talking about the weather. We're back. Your favorite, newscaster, meteorologist, whatever you want to call me. I'm back with RDH Sports, of course. But yeah, no, it's been stupid hot here in Texas. Fortunately, Chad just moved back into Texas, so now he can kind of suffer with me and all the rest of us Cowboys fans over here down in Texas. But yeah, no, it's going well. Obviously we got some stuff to get into. It's not all, sunshine and rainbows for Cowboys fans right now. It's mostly sunshine, no rainbows. There was rain last week. That was sick, but let's get right into it, man. It's been a hell of a week.
I would argue that there's no sunshine. I would argue that it's quite literally like my room. You know what I mean? It's dark times. It's dark times in the in Dallas Cowboys. But yeah, you kind of nailed it. Good little segue. Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? I'm just going to ask you because you're the voice of reason in this thing. It's been days and I'll save it. But good or bad trade, if I had my bow ties, it would be a bow tie on fire. The worst bow tie I've ever had in my life. That's what my bow tie would be. It'd be a bad bow tie. But good bad trade. What do you make of this Micah Parsons thing? Did you ever see this coming?
No, I don't think anyone did. Really, you look at the situation and you look at everything that surrounded it, all with the media saying, Michael Irvin, ESPN, I mean, heck, even Jerry himself. And it's just like, we're not trading Micah Parsons. This is a generational talent. You'd be stupid to trade him. And well, one thing led to another and they traded him. So it's one of those things where, I mean, yeah, you look at the timeline and it makes sense. Like the timeline absolutely makes sense. The negotiations broke down and Jerry and Micah were kind of so far apart that it didn't really even come to fruition, like the deal or any part of the deal. Jerry thought it was a handshake deal. And Micah was like, yeah. And it's behind closed doors. We don't really know a whole lot of what happened. Fortunately, I think a lot of it is public. A lot of the numbers, a lot of the things, the offering, the contracts offers that Jerry gave over to Micah and things like that. I mean, we know Micah inevitably signed for $47 million a year. And I think Jerry's, and it's quarterback money. And we saw, Jerry offer him, I think, a $40.5 million a year contract, that was kind of the starting point, right? That was where the negotiations went sideways. And after that, I mean, you heard the rumors, everyone's heard the talk, with Jane Slater, I think she said afterwards, it's either you play on the 5th-year option or you're out of here, right? That's just, it came down to a situation like that. Now, like I said, we won't really know what happened behind those closed doors. Only a select few will, because, well, Jerry and Micah and I guess Mulugeta and maybe Steven were the only ones in that negotiating room. So who even knows what was actually said? Did Mulugeta say, just shove it up his ass? Probably not. Is that just Jerry going and starting stuff? Probably, right? We know it at this point. He just likes to create headlines. So it's one of those things that you can't really trust with what Jerry's saying specifically. And, I mean, we'll see with Mulugeta, right? He's a great agent. There's nothing that has been out there saying that he isn't. So I would trust what he says, at least, from what he said on ESPN and stuff like that, especially like today and stuff. So it's a dicey situation, but like with the impact of the trade on the Cowboys, it's like you say, I'm the voice of reason. Yeah, I would say I am. I'm not saying I like the trade. I think it was a bad trade. I think the Cowboys should have gotten more. And I think that's kind of my biggest gripe on the trade. But it's tough whenever you are expected to sign this, pass rusher. This is expected to be your guy. No one's really making offers for you in March, in April, before the draft, heck, even after the draft. And this is, we see guys go. This is when the free agency period starts, right? Like teams get guys, and that's when the biggest free agents moves and stuff like that. So in the time when they could have dealt him, they didn't. And in the time when they shouldn't have dealt him, they did. Right. So that just kind of made their return on that investment just not as good. Especially in the trade market, there's just less people who are willing to pay that much money for a pass rusher. There are less people who are even available who have that amount of cap room and who are even willing to start negotiations with Jerry Jones over, a Micah Parsons, right? Like who everyone thought was unavailable. So it just turned south real fast. And I think Jerry just wanted a solution. And, Jerry does what Jerry does. But I mean, what do you think that's like bad about this contract? I want you to get into we've talked about it at length, but and I'll kind of go into it too, just kind of on the impact of it. But what did you think? Like, what did you kind of want? Like, even if this trade was going down, like let's say this trade was inevitable, like what would you think would be the most appropriate deal for a guy like Micah Parsons?
I mean, I think you kind of hit on it a little bit. First of all, I'm going to say it was a dumb trade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm just going to just come right out the gate and say that, and just say it wasn't a good trade.
Right. And I agree.
My biggest thing with this one is you kind of hit on it in the beginning of when you started talking about it, but when you have a player like Micah Parsons, and Jerry came out and said that 30 teams minimum. Now, clearly the comments that he's been saying have been completely false. Like we all wanted him to go collectively, and everyone came out and was like, "Yeah, we did say that." Um, but if you're going to trade a guy like Micah Parsons, first of all, I don't think it's 2 firsts. I think it's 3,
Right.
because if you're going to talk Micah Parsons, like you're putting him in that conversation with Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. My biggest thing that's annoying about this whole trade is that it seems like Jerry got mad
Mhm.
and the ego kind of took over. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's just a new age in football. Like guys are going to use agents. Yeah, kids are getting paid since they're 17 years old. Like they have to use agents. They have no clue, and they're getting millions of dollars.
Mhm.
And Micah just got $47 million. Shout out, that was my hockey number for a while. And like that's an insane amount of money. And the fact that Jerry, like you have to realize that reportedly Jerry offered 40.5 million, right?
Mhm.
Green Bay gave him a $47 million contract. You can't think that he wouldn't have budged a little bit in terms of Micah, because it came out afterwards that Micah was like, no, I went to the Cowboys again and we tried to get it done after everything that happened, and it didn't happen.
And Jerry said no.
And Jerry said, no, you have to play on the 5th-year option. So it's one of those things where it's like, I understand you have to play on the 5th-year option, but at the same time, it's like, why not play on the 5th-year option with a guarantee? Because here's the thing. If Micah got hurt 3 years in a row and got 8 sacks, 6 sacks, 4 sacks, okay,
Mhm.
sure. You can make that. Sure. Then you have to play out the 5th year. Well, him and Reggie White are the only guys to get as many sacks as they have in their first 4 seasons. What else does he have to prove?
Yeah.
Like, those comments are just stupid. First of all, like it doesn't make any sense. And as someone that's a Cowboy fan and quite literally grew up in like the early 2000s, late 2000s Cowboys, where Tony Romo had one hell of an offense, but had a very subpar defense. That's what Dallas is now. And like, here's my thing. You're talking about impact of the trade and all this kind of stuff. It's 2 first-round picks, which realistically are not first-round picks.
And a Kenny
Like,
Clark. Yeah, I get you.
and and Kenny Clark, who's okay, he's 30, and you have 1 year at like 1.8 million, and next year at like 4.8, then it jumps up to 18.5. So what you think is Kenny Clark's probably going to get cut on that 3rd year. So realistically, you gave up Micah Parsons for Kenny Clark for 2 years, and 2 first-round picks that realistically, if the Packers actually get a player that could potentially put them above someone in terms of like the Lions and everything, it's Micah. But I don't know. Packers, there's a lot more there that we can talk about at a later time. I'm not going to go in and say the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl, because the NFC is running through the Eagles.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of other teams in the NFC that got way better in the offseason that we'll get into throughout the season. But specifically with this Micah Parsons trade in Green Bay, those first round picks are going to be like in the best 20, like early 20s. That's the best. The best. And then worst case scenario, it's going to be late 20s. I don't see Green Bay not making the playoffs,
Mhm.
especially now that Micah Parsons is going to literally win them 3 games, because he did that with Dallas every year.
Mhm.
He won them like 3 games, and now Dallas doesn't have that. Oh, and by the way, now you don't have to sit here and double team Micah Parsons, so everyone else on the line is starting to get decent numbers. Like Dallas's defense took such a step back that I think this is going to be big. But what they did is they literally took half of that money and gave it to Deron Bland and signed him, the cornerback for Dallas. So now Dallas has Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland locked up on the defensive side. Micah Parsons is gone. You have Kenny Clark for a couple more years. I understand the voice of reason coming in, but my last thing I'm going to say with this trade, then we're going to get into the Cowboys schedule prediction.
Well, I'll talk about it too, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. But you hit on it at the very beginning of what you said. Go out and get something more, right? If you're going to go out and trade Micah Parsons, go to the Jaguars. Like, do you know what I mean? Go to the Titans. Go to someone that is going to get you a not top 10, top 5 pick. Go to the Saints. Like, go to these teams that are going to get you a really, really good draft pick and get 3 of them. And who gives a crap about the defense of tackle position unless you can bring one in too? And like Green Bay had so many, like, sorry, I'm not trying to throw shade, but like there's so many good players on the defensive line. and Kenny Clark come back. I'm like, oh man,
I know. Out of all of them, we got Kenny Clark, and I'm like, okay, well,
yeah, but that's kind of my thought on it. It just the fact that it comes out, Jerry comes out and says like all the kind of stuff in that press conference was just horrible to watch.
Yeah, it was something.
And we're going to hit into it in the next segment of what we think is actually going to happen with the season. But one of the worst trades I've ever seen as a Cowboys fan, in my opinion, and I understand that these draft picks haven't panned out yet. If you get 2 superstars in the 20s, good for you. To me, it sounds like offensive linemen again. But we'll see what happens. But that's kind of all I got to say on the Micah Parsons trade. What do you got to end it off with?
It's an interesting. It's like you said, like we're not going to know how this trade is going to pan out until 2-3 years down the line, and probably even after that, because we don't know if these draft picks that we're going to get from these 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years that Jerry keeps talking about, if they're even going to be any good, right? Like we know we're going to have the Cowboys pick, and then we're going to have a pick in the late 20s, probably mid to late 20s. You know, you would assume you're hoping the Packers just fall off a cliff, you know, and something happens, and they just don't have a good year, but realistically, it's not going to happen unless something drastic happens in terms of an injury, right? And like we saw it last year with Jordan Love, but it's something you can't count on. So, I mean, and Dallas doesn't draft that well, you know, when it comes to the 20s. So, like we talked about, you know, in our own conversations, but like Byron Jones is kind of the big name that comes out to me in kind of that spot. You know, you got Taco over there as well, and Mozzie Smith, which is just, you know, an unfortunate kind of guys to pair over there too. But you know, historically, Dallas has drafted well, but it's one of the things they've drafted well kind of towards the front end of the NFL or of the first round, right? Like they're closer, and often not. They're kind of middle of the road, and maybe they make a few, you know, they go up a couple spots, maybe they go back a couple spots. That's kind of where Dallas has been sitting the last few years, and they've been making, obviously, the Micah Parsons. You know, we see them get some good starters out of there. That's kind of where CD landed as well, right? But an interesting thing too about this trade is kind of Jerry's thought process in the whole matter, right? Because you go to any sensible owner in or GM, excuse me, in the NFL, and you tell them like, hey, Micah Parsons, you know, he's on your team, obviously, like that. Do you trade him, right? Like if you get down to this situation, I don't think any of the other 30 NFL GMs would say yes. You know, I would think all 30 of them would say, no, you shouldn't trade a generational talent like that. And if you do, you need to get something more out of it, right? You need to pay him, and you need to go from there, right? In a lot of situations, in a lot of situations that works. And you know, maybe Jerry's he's just an older guy. I don't know, man, but I think Jerry, when he looked at that situation with Micah Parsons and being the highest paid player, non-QB in the NFL, he has the highest paid QB in the NFL with Dak Prescott, over $5 million over the next person in Josh Allen, I think it is. And he already has a top 10 non-QB with CD, right? And I don't know where CD is at in the salaries, but he's 1, 2, or 3. You know, I don't remember what it is, but he's making a lot of money.
I think he's right behind. I think now he's 3. He's behind Justin Jefferson. I think Jamar's now at the tippy top.
I think you're right. But it doesn't, you know.
Also, can we just echo this point? It's Micah fucking Parsons.
Yeah, it's the best young defensive player in the NFL.
what do you mean? What? Just why is he available in the first place?
Well, it's
You
like
know,
and it
doesn't
doesn't
make
make.
any sense.
I mean, it's like you said. I think Jerry got mad. I think he got offended,
That's
and
insane, though. That's like
I'm not saying it's a
imagine,
good. I'm not saying
imagine.
it's a good reason for him to trade him, but that's just where
Oh
the
no, you're not.
negotiations they broke down, and Jerry said it's my way or the highway, and we've seen him do this with multiple players before. I mean, how many times have we gone through this song and dance? I feel like with DeMarcus Lawrence, with defensive linemen, just in general,
Yeah,
honestly,
but he
man.
signed him.
They did, but after he played on the franchise tag, and Jerry told him he said if you play on the franchise tag, I'll give you your money. But that's kind of a prove it year, and you can go and DeMarcus Lawrence has talked about it and stuff like that on his podcast. But it's Jerry does pay guys. Fortunately for those guys, after that franchise tag, I mean, we saw with Dak. I mean, he got his money.
Franchise tag. Just franchise tag him. Like
I
just
know
franchise tag him
there's
and
nothing
figure
you
it
can
out during
do,
the regular season. If
right?
you like headlines, this is a good headline.
I think the thing that really pissed Jerry off, and I think this is the only thing that stands out that is different among like these contract negotiations, other than ones that I've seen before, is Zeke didn't ask for a trade, Dak didn't request a trade, CD didn't request a trade. They all just got deals done. Usually Dak and CD, they got done right before the season, if we remember, and Zeke was a little bit into the season, right? He did the whole Emmitt Smith thing with Zeke. And by the way, just a side tangent, go watch that Cowboys doc if you haven't on Netflix. It's very, very good. It's probably not, the best time to watch it, but maybe, give it a couple months.
No, it is. It's the best time. It's the last time you're going to see anything good that's going to happen from that team.
I mean, fair, but
Like, what do you mean? Like
yeah.
It doesn't like. Look, I want to say I sit here and I understand, but like, if I went to Madden right now
Oh
and
yeah,
I
no.
put the trade on easy, the Green Bay Packers would take this and send back some kind of message like, "You're an idiot." You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well,
Maybe put down the bottle,
the thing
right?
the thing too is I get it, put down the bottle, but it is hard, and I will admit to Jerry, like Jerry was in a very tough spot when he made this decision, because do you want to pay Micah Parsons, CD Lamb,
2 more years, yes.
and Dak Prescott for like
Yes.
$150 million? I mean, maybe
2 years.
maybe not. Maybe not.
If you
I mean, you're
realistically
saying
think
Dak Prescott isn't going to sign another deal with the Cowboys?
it's Jerry and it's his quarterback.
He's going to, and he's probably going to sign for 70 million this time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Jerry only goes up and up and up, and he pays his players the premium because he doesn't pay them early, right? We know this. This is how the Cowboys work, and so I just think it was too high of a price for Jerry to pay with Micah, CD, and Dak all on the same roster. I think he said, if we sign Micah and we have these three guys for at least the next 2 years, guaranteed, right? And then we'll see what happens with Dak's contract after that. I don't think he looked at that roster and he said, we can build a Super Bowl winning roster in the next 4 to 5 years with Micah and with all this money being spent on these top three players. And
Isn't that his own fault though?
it is, and it's 100% the Cowboys front office fault for not getting these deals done early, for not getting these deals done for cheaper, and for not just kind of allocating the money ahead of time. I mean, we've been talking about it for the last 2 years,
Drafting.
and it's going to come down to drafting, but Jerry already paid. Like, let's look at what's already happened with the situation. Deron Bland got paid. Okay, makes sense. There was a lot of free cap room. Deron Bland probably leaves after his rookie deal, right? Let's assume that probably happens. Trayvon Diggs probably leaves after his deal is done. Osa, if he's under contract, he is. He'd probably stay. Kenny's probably gone after 2 years. I don't know if they can pay anybody else, on the defensive side of the ball, and you're going to be, overshown. We're going to have to pay him at some point. He's not very good yet, right? Yet, we'll see, but it's one of those things where I don't think Jerry wanted to pay him because I don't think he could pay anybody else after that, and I think that's why he made the trade. And obviously he just saw something. He was like 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. Yeah, we're gonna stop the run now. But I do think he was between a rock and a hard place. Now, did he make the right decision? I don't think so. I would have loved to get this deal done for a whole lot cheaper, and I really think it could have if they had played their cards right. But like I said, we're not in the negotiation room. Jerry has his own tactics. He's going to do things his own way. But sometimes, you pull a little too hard when you reel in that fish. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that thing comes right out of its mouth, right? Where my fishermen at down here in Texas? But I think I think him and Micah just, and the agent, the whole situation, it just got under his skin. And you know what Jerry does when he gets pissed? He makes rash decisions. Excuse me.
Third try, let's go.
I mean, that's why That's why Amari Cooper came to Dallas. That's why Deion Sanders came to Dallas. Like it's just Jerry sees something and he wants it, and he just it's a record. Like he's just playing it over and over and over and over, and we've seen this story over and over and over. But it's not surprising, right? Like we know Jerry built the Cowboys, but he's also the reason we're in this hole right now. But granted, I guess it's a little less of a deep hole, but I just think Jerry looked the Cowboys up and down and he said, we're not going to win with Micah Parsons on this roster, given what we already have. And I don't know how he came to that conclusion, because you would think the strategy with Micah Parsons would be now we're going to go draft, and now we have to nail literally every single draft pick. And now you're in the exact same position. You have to nail every single draft pick. And now they're all first-round picks, but I guess there's a higher chance of them being nailed. But again, if you have those 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years, there's a good chance that at least 2 of them are not good, right? There's a decent chance that you flip a coin, because that's what you're doing in the NFL draft. You're flipping a coin, and we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to sit and pick, but it's very Dallas for them to sit and pick all those picks, and they're going to get some random guy that should have been a second-round pick at the end of the first with both of those.
Tulane.
Yeah, out of Tulane. But at the very least, Tyler Smith is pretty good, right? And they're gonna have to sign him, and he would probably have been the biggest target for Dallas if they had kept Micah Parsons. But I don't think Deron Bland would have stayed. I don't think some of these other guys would have stayed. But again, it's he said, she said. We don't really know what would have happened, but it's honestly, I would have liked to see them get more. Now, granted, this was kind of on par with the Khalil Mack trade. If you kind of remember that a little while back, it was 2 first-round picks, but. But Khalil Mack was 2, and then I think it was a 5th or something like that.
Was Khalil only 2?
I think 2 is the most they've been dealt with for defensive pass rushers or defensive linemen. You can look it up if you want to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's 2, and it depends on what you think is better, Kenny Clark or whatever the addition they got in that trade. But again, big stars and big trades don't always work out. Same thing with the Jalen Ramsey trade when he went over from Jacksonville to the Rams. The Rams kind of benefited mostly from that trade because they got an all-pro corner in Jalen Ramsey, right, as opposed to, the 2 first-round picks that they lost, I think it was. But it doesn't often work out well for the teams who get those picks, but it depends on how you draft, Like in case of the Raiders with Khalil Mack, one of those picks turned out to be Josh Jacobs. Now, they didn't really do their due diligence with Josh Jacobs. He was a rushing king with them, but it didn't end well, obviously. So it's what they do with them. Like Jerry, this could be a great trade 10 years down the line if we get stars in all 4 of those draft picks. Like they have to hit.
And Micah falls off a cliff.
Yeah, granted, trades can be good on both. Trades can be good on both sides. Look at the Stafford and the Goff trade. Like those teams are both better because of that trade, and this could happen with the Cowboys.
That's even.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm not saying it's a good trade.
I hate this trade.
I don't think it's the worst trade ever ever. I think that's just too much. I think they got too much out of the trade to say that it's the worst trade of all time in the NFL history. I mean, Herschel Walker does exist, remember, and that's probably the worst.
It's a couple second-round picks and Kenny Clark. You know what I mean? Like it might not be the worst, but it's it's top 10.
I don't know if it's top 10. I think they did get.
I'd have to go back and look at the worst.
I'd have to look at a lot of them.
The Washington trade was pretty bad. That set them back. 3 firsts. Remember that? It was to get RG3, and RG3 hooped his first season, and after that, it was like, all right, Kirk.
I mean, what are you gonna do? But I mean, they should have been fine with that. It's fine. They got Jaden now, who's like his successor essentially. But
Washington's better than Dallas. But speaking of this, do you want to? We gotta hit this schedule prediction, and I'm really interested because I think I'm a lot lower on Dallas.
I don't.
Said voice of reason here.
Their offense hasn't changed. Let's put that out before we do start this.
Picking.
Their offense is better than it was last year. Let's keep that
In the running back situation.
And the running back situation is.
But wait. Before we go on, we have to, Deuce Vaughn, baby.
Honestly, yeah, we could take a moment because Deuce Vaughn.
We'll be seeing you, bud.
Was one of our most popular reels back when he was trying to make the Cowboys. Great story. Unfortunately, he didn't have.
He
didn't have it when it came to running backs. Pretty tiny guy, but he's got a lot of speed. But it seems it didn't work. Sorry, Deuce. But anyways, the Cowboys have new running backs with the kid out of Texas. Miles Sanders is already on the injury report, and I don't really know who's going to be starting week 1. To be honest with you, is it Javonte Williams? Probably.
Javonte Williams picked him up my fantasy leagues. We're going all in on the Cowboys running back situation. No, he's a stash in a lot of leagues. All right, I'm gonna read the schedule to you. Okay. Actually, before we start this, very quickly, you have to grade the Cowboys trade just a grade A to F. What are you giving it? No explanation, just A to F.
A C-. A C-.
Pass the class?
Yeah, I do.
Jerry passed the class? Give me an F. All right.
I don't think it's going on. I think that's an overreaction. I really do. I really, really do. I get it. I understand. If they got 2, cans of Dr. Pepper and, a note that says thank you, I think that would have been an F. Right? Dallas can draft. I don't know what you're talking about. But
not really.
They can.
Not in the 20s, man.
They can't. Well, yeah. But outside of that range, they're pretty all right. That's why they got to make a move. All right. He says, what? Why can't I use these right now? You ever think of that? If he goes out and he trades 4 firsts for someone, it better be someone pretty good. But I think there's got to be some.
How are they going to afford him?
They won't. But I think a running back is very much in the future. Sorry, Javonte. Sorry, Miles Sanders. But start looking at running backs in the draft because that's where they go at the end of the first. We know this now, unless you're really, really good and your name's Bijan Jonty or Jahmyr Gibbs, and then you go pretty early on. But Dallas would have to trade up for them. But I think Detroit also did that pretty recently too, and that seems to work out. But it seems to have worked out well for them.
You're pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, obviously Dallas is confident in their defense for some effing reason. Marshawn Nealand, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Kenny Clark, Osa Odigizua. These guys are gonna absolutely blow up the Philadelphia Eagles with the best offensive line and the heaviest in the NFL, and the NFL's leading rusher and Super Bowl champions in week 1. It's not
in a couple days.
It's not a good look. But at least Dallas has draft capital.
Notice we're doing the schedule prediction after all the news broke because I'm not gonna lie to you, it would have changed. It would have changed for me. It would have changed a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna read these off to you, and I'll let you know if they're home or away.
Week 1,
and you're gonna give me your prediction, and then I'm gonna do my prediction, and we're gonna see
how
different it is. And I'm not gonna tell you what you actually got. Okay.
Oh, by the end, but you're gonna keep track of it.
Yep.
Okay,
so we're going to do so start off with the Eagles away.
All right, well, that's a loss. Let's just put that one down right now. I don't know if anyone's picking the Cowboys in that game.
No. Then it's New York.
Dub.
At home.
I think they win. At home?
Chicago away.
I think they win.
I was about to say you're kind of
look. It's
that's scary.
Look,
okay, here's a good one.
Caleb's pretty good. Am I right, guys?
Green Bay at home.
Oh, they're gonna lose. They have to. It's Micah's coming home party. They have to lose.
How many sacks do you think he gets that game? I think it's
3
2 minimum.
3.
Yeah,
3.
I think minimum 2.
Micah's an absolute beast. Do you think Terrence Steele or Tyler Guyton are going to do anything against Micah Parsons, who they've been practicing with, by the way, for the past 2 years. So they know each other very well at the very least, but that just means Micah knows them better than they.
Then we got away. We got the Jets and the Panthers.
Give me a dub on the Jets and an L on the Panthers. Give me Bryce Young.
Give me Bryce Young just all day. Okay, home Washington.
L.
Away Denver.
L. I can't. I just
Home
can't.
Arizona.
This one's hard. This one's hard to me, man. Because I don't know. Cowboys always like to play well in some random games against guys who are not competitors, against teams that I think it would be a close game. I think they're kind of equal levels of shit, to be honest with you. They're like Arizona's defense, not that good. Offensive line, pretty good, honestly, in Denver. You know what? Or excuse me, in Arizona. Let's go Arizona because I like their offensive line situation. I think they're getting a lot better. Trey McBride, James Conner still got a little juice. Kyler is on my fantasy team. Marvin Harrison Jr. They're getting better. But give me Arizona in a close game.
Okay, so we got the Raiders after that. That one is away.
Give me a dub. Screw you, Gino.
then we got the Eagles again. This time it's at home.
I can't. It's hard, man. Because Dak does play well against the Eagles. We do know that. Very historically, he does, and at least it's at home. I'll go an L. But I wouldn't be that surprised if Dallas does like sneak out a win in one of those matchups.
Kansas City at home.
Yeah, that's an L. Let's not beat around the bush on that one.
The Lions away.
L. Yeah, it has to be an L. Oh, especially away.
The Vikings at home.
L. They're too good. Their roster is just too good.
Unproven JJ McCarthy though.
This is like after midseason though, isn't it?
We're talking end of the season here.
Yeah, so I think he's got a full season under his belt, unless anything happens, injury wise. I think the Vikings. I mean, their roster is so good. Like JJ McCarthy has to just not crash the Lamborghini. Like, let's be honest here. Like they have Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson. Like that's pretty dang good, man. Like he's just
Addison. Yeah, I think Addison's suspended for the first couple games.
Yeah, he will. He is, but in this scenario,
He'll be there for the Cowboys.
He'll be there for the Cowboys, and God damn it, he's going to put some yards on that Cowboys.
Okay, then we've got the Chargers at home.
Give me a dub on the Chargers because I feel like they always play each other close, and Brendan Aubrey's going to kick a 65-yard field goal.
Then the last two games away, Washington and New York.
Give me a dub on Washington because they always find a way against Washington somehow, even on Thanksgiving last year, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And give me a dub for the Giants at the end of the No, give me an L on the Giants at the end of the year. Jackson Dart comes out and makes a case for his sophomore season.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got the games.
Disappointing losses in that schedule prediction.
I got the games, so I'll literally just read them off. So
is this like 6-11? Is that what I guess? Something like that.
I'm not going to let you know yet. Do you have the games in front of you, or do you want me to read them off again?
Oh, for me going off for you? Yeah, hold on. Well, I have to. I need to pull them up real quick. But just read off. Well, I guess we know Philly's first, so go ahead and start with Philadelphia, and we know the Giants are second.
Philadelphia is going to be a shellacking. I think Dallas goes out there and potentially, for my fantasy hopes alone, throws up 24 points, 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal. Not really. I can't even. I'm trying to get it out.
I think they get past 20. I think they get past 20 points. Like I said, their offense has gotten better. Okay, they're going to be throwing themselves. I get it. Trust me, I get it.
These guys are line in that.
These guys are pretty good.
So good.
Look, Dallas, a little West Coast action. Dak Prescott never hurt. Okay, let's get that ball out quick because we don't got 2 seconds. We got 1.5. Like
maybe 1.5. Yeah, that's an L.
Yeah, no,
so that's an L to start the season.
I think do they cover? Maybe. Anyways,
probably not.
Giants at home.
That's a win.
Okay. The Bears away.
That's a win.
Okay. The Packers at home, week 4.
Oh, just no.
Okay. Then we have the Jets away.
That's a win.
Okay. Curious to see how Justin Fields does. This is probably his last chance, to be honest with you.
He got a bag though.
He did, surprisingly, and I think it's funny that him and Aaron just kind of switched spots, and now they're going to be playing each other too. I think as well at some point in the season. But I thought that was pretty funny that they're just like, yeah, unofficial trade essentially. But
Literally.
the Panthers away. Did I say that one? No.
I'm gonna go win on that one.
Okay. Let's see here. Commanders at home. This is the
Loss.
October game.
Definitely a big L. Big L on that one.
The Broncos away.
Broncos L. Or Dallas loses to the Broncos for sure.
Okay. They always seem to do that, which is fun.
Yeah, they do.
Cardinals at home.
I'm going to give them the win against the Cardinals.
Okay. See, I did as well. They're equal levels of shit. Like, let's be honest.
You gave Arizona the win.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't because I said no. I didn't give them the win because I said that they would beat. Oh wait, no, I think I did because I did say that they would beat the Raiders.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Raiders are. I would have split the other one. By the way, if I said Arizona won, I would have just. Or if Dallas won, they would just lost next week to the Raiders.
That's exactly. You just read my mind. They lose to the Raiders.
Okay, so they lose to the Raiders. And then the Eagles again, but this time at home. 325. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Lost.
Chiefs at home.
Lost.
Lions away. Thursday
Lost.
night, by the way. Another one. Vikings at home. That's Sunday Night Football.
Lost.
Really? I feel like they play well against the Vikings. But I also put an L there. But I think that would be close. Chargers at home. Noon game.
That's a toss-up.
Noon game. In December.
I'm gonna go lost on that one too.
4 days before Christmas. Now on Christmas, they actually play on Christmas this year. Commanders away.
I'm gonna go lost there too.
Wow. And then Giants away.
I'm going Giants dep.
Okay, so you said W for. Did you say Giants dub at the end?
I say Dallas wins against the Giants twice.
Okay, so Dallas sweeps the Giants. I'm just counting up what you had. Yeah. This isn't looking good.
No.
Wow. Well, I guess we just did yours. So I counted 6 wins.
Same for you.
6 wins, so that would mean 6-11. Is what that
That's
would
same
be.
for you. You got
Really?
the exact same thing.
Wow, we did different games too. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. My thing is that's like the worst that I think that Dallas could do, like the literal worst that they could do. I realistically see Dallas going 8-9. I realistically see them squeaking out a couple more and just being like, hey, Dallas fans, just kidding. Instead of having that really good draft pick and then some in the 20s as well, we're just going to pick around 16 to 18 for you. You know what I mean? Give me 8 and 9.
The thing is, I mean, we talked about it too when we were picking those games, but Dallas likes to be in these games that they shouldn't be and then lose these games that they should win. I mean, we know that so much already as history has told us about this century's Cowboys, but it happened last season when Dak went and got hurt. Like, they shouldn't have been as good as they were, but they weren't good enough to make them be a competitive team, right? They would beat these teams here and there. Like Cooper Rush would just go on a heater. You know what I mean? And that's just what he does. That's in Cooper Rush's blood, it seems. He just goes on like 4 to 5 game winning streaks, and then he just falls off cliff. Like, I don't know if you watched him in preseason this season. It was pretty bad. But
oh, Baltimore, baby.
Oh, Baltimore. But yeah, it's like the Cardinals, the Panthers, all these noon games. I feel like they just easily have a shot of winning because. Let's say the run defense is better. Let's say Kenny Clark does something, right? Then it's going to help the defense, I guess, a little bit. But they're still going to get run. The pass rush suffers, and the secondary is going to suffer because of that as well, right? Like, they're getting better in the run, but they're not getting better overall. Like, their defense is going to be worse, like, hands down, right? And I don't think they can rush 4 to get pressure unless someone wins. Like, you're going to be rushing every single time, like a Marshawn Nealand or a Sam Williams or a Dante Fowler off of the edge. Like 2 out of 3 of those players are probably going, or an Overshone, I guess, whenever he comes back. Otherwise, you're blitzing linebackers and safeties every other time, right? And I don't know if I haven't studied Eberflus and what he likes to do in those kind of situations, third and long and stuff like that. But that's where Micah shined. That's where he got his money, like on those second and long, like just those long, really weird plays, right? And it's just it just takes time to develop the routes. Like, I mean, how do you think Deron Bland had so much success? Like, same with Dave. Like, it's going to be interesting. And now they have two ball hawk corners who can't cover. So it's going to be interesting. I like Deron Bland a whole lot more than Diggs. No offense, but like I like, because he's young. I like if anything good came out of that Micah Parsons trade, I guess it's Deron Bland. Wouldn't have paid that much for him, but at least he's still on the team. He's got some good hands, and he's getting better, right? I guess so. We'll see, but yeah, it's just one of those things where Dallas is going to be an 8-9 team, and I completely agree with you, because that's just where it is. It's like Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Like, that's just what they do, right? Like, Mike Tomlin will make the playoffs, and he's losing in the first round. He's going to get a winning record, and they're sitting in the teens with their pick. So, I really hope Dallas gets a top 10 draft pick. That's what I hoped for last year. But if they do, they'll get a really good player. But if they don't, they might have to trade that late first round pick to move up if they really want someone that's worth a damn, right? So it's going to depend on how close this quote unquote great player is to where they end up in the draft.
And you got to hope that player lands very quickly. And there's
Yeah.
no time to get up to speed in terms of bringing up this player in the draft, because there's typically reasons these guys fall to the 20s. Like, it's not as crazy as the NBA draft. You know what I mean? Like, the NBA draft, it seems like you have like 5 guys max in like an entire draft.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL, there's a lot more rounds, obviously. But like, with the NFL draft specifically, if you're getting a top 10 player, that's like a blue chip prospect. Like, that's a guy that is not only going to walk in day one and start, he is potentially going to be a Pro Bowler,
Mm-hmm.
or like, be up for Rookie of the Year awards. And then once you go to guys in the early teens, like 11 to 15, those are guys that may have slipped, or for example, in a couple drafts ago where 4 quarterbacks were going like the first 11 picks, and you're like, good Lord.
And then you're
You know
like,
what I
let's
mean?
go
And
if
so,
you're the Cowboys, right?
exactly. So then you're sitting there at 11, and you're like 11, 12. You're like, okay, cool. Now I've actually got some really good players here because of the 4 quarterbacks that just went, right? And then you get that 15 to 20 range, and it's like you're really hoping, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know when CD was drafted. I'm not sure if it was 13 or if it was 15 or 16.
It was
But I knew
early
he was.
teens.
Yeah. So I knew it was in the teens, but it's very hard to get those guys to fall after that. And then once you get in the 20s, that's like you're fighting with playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're already fighting with teams with really good rosters. And typically those teams that have really good rosters draft really well too. So you're already fighting an uphill battle. Like, how many times do you say at the end of the round, oh, Kansas City, oh, Buffalo, Baltimore, they got another guy? Like, every time, every single time, right? Like, when Kyle Hamilton fell to the Ravens, I was like, are you kidding me?
That was pretty
Like,
crazy.
how does nobody see this happening, right? And then you've got all these other guys too that just step in day one,
And the Chiefs
and
just go and
start.
draft like their entire offensive line, and then win
Literally,
Super Bowls after they get beat by Brady.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, Dallas this year, I think they finished 3rd in the NFC East. I don't see, this could be the first time that a team repeats since like the early 2000s. Philly's really good. I think the only thing that stops Philly is a self-implosion, or Saquon gets hurt.
Yeah.
And that's literally it. And they have to rely on Jalen to pass the ball. And for me, I don't necessarily mind that, because you have Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown.
We know it works.
Right? And you can also get a running back that's pretty solid. But there were some games last year that, I mean, nobody did anything but Saquon, it seemed like. Right? Like, it just seemed like you were watching him run. So it's like, that's the only way that I see Philly taking a step back. Their roster is just too good. Washington got better over the offseason. Dallas got worse. And the Giants, you could argue, actually got a little bit better, but I still think the Giants are a little bit away.
A little bit away. But I like Jackson Dart, man. And we haven't talked about him pretty much at all. But I mean, you go back to those draft rankings, and holy crap, did we nail it? I mean, damn, dude. Like, I mean, obviously the Shador fall and all that stuff, but I think you and I both had Jackson Dart number 2 over Shador. And if it wasn't 2, it was number 3, and it was damn close. Right. So I think I don't remember what I picked, but he was 2 or 3 for me, and I remember when they picked Jackson, I was like, yeah, shit. We'll see what he comes up to, but I think he's been playing really good so far. And I don't know. They say never scout the helmet. I like Ole Miss. I think they got a good program. I mean, that dude was slinging it over there when I was watching him. So we'll see. But
We be seeing what's going on now. Other predictions, because we got to get to the ones that are happening because there's football this week. Obviously, you're gonna, I had you starting it off Cowboys Eagles. We kind of already said that in our previous segment.
mm-hmm.
So obviously, you have the Cowboys losing to the Eagles. So I'll just go ahead and start it. On Friday, there's a game. I didn't even know that when I was looking up these games. Like, there's a game on Friday.
Yeah.
It's the Chiefs versus the Chargers. This one's on me. I'm gonna go Chiefs. You have to go Chiefs.
It's
You know what
in
I mean? You just
Brazil, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
I
you
got
have
it.
to go Chiefs.
I got to go Chiefs. Unless Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris come out like 2 bullets, and just absolutely destroy the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, those matchups have been close, but I still think it's Kansas City's division. I think they're pissed, man. I think that they're coming. They're going right back. Maybe they go to the Super Bowl, but they're going to get damn close because, I mean, what happened last time when Patrick Mahomes lost a Super Bowl? I feel like he just got better. It's like that's like, dang, I didn't know that guy could do that. So yeah, I think the Chiefs are pissed. I think Kelsey and all them want one more. I think Andy Reid. I think they're hungry again, and that's scary. So yeah, obviously give me the Chiefs. I think it's going to be interesting that it's going to be overseas, but I don't think it changes the result of the game.
And the Bucks versus the Falcons on Sunday. That's the first one we'll go with. Just going more divisional matchups here. What do you got, Bucks versus Falcons on this one?
This is always a thriller. Now, I don't know if it was a thriller because Kirk Cousins was always on the Atlanta Falcons before, and they were just ripping him and Baker were going back and forth. But Baker loves to score against the Atlanta Falcons, and I mean it's a division opponent. They know how to play each other. So I got the Buccaneers because I mean you watched them play last season. It was absolute cinema. You couldn't miss a game because you would miss like 40 touchdowns. But like I got the Bucks in this one, even though there's no Godwin, but I think Ibuka is going to step right in and just do just fine as that number 2 wide receiver over there in Tampa Bay. But I mean, Tampa Bay,
Ohio State wide receivers, man.
they know how to get it done, man. They know how to get it done.
Unbelievable. Sunday we got another division matchup. The Lions versus the Packers.
Give me the Lions. I think the Lions win.
Give me Lions. I'm going Lions as well. I also agree. I'm going to go Bucks on that pick too. Then Sunday night, dude. Like,
this is a banger.
Ravens versus the Bills.
This is perfect because it's like the MVP matchup from last year.
Whoever you don't pick, I'll go the other team. Honestly,
I'm going Buffalo. Like,
all right, I'll go Ravens.
hands down. I don't think you can, like, on paper I'd say Baltimore's a better team. I think most people can agree with that. But Josh Allen, I mean, we just saw something special last year. It's hard to pick against him, especially with how he's playing right now. And I mean, we'll see how he comes out the season. We'll see how he comes out the gate. But Josh Allen has just gotten better and better and better pretty much every season I've watched him play. And I think that they're slowly getting better on offense. I thought they drafted decently well. And they got that, if you remember, probably like the one of the highlights of the end of the first. But I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo won last time they played, if I'm not mistaken, last season. But I don't remember. But I don't know if they played last season. I might be thinking of the Chiefs game, but I like Buffalo in this one just because I think Josh Allen, it doesn't matter who he plays. I think he just goes out there and he puts up points. And I'm not saying Lamar doesn't. Who's at home?
I don't know. I got to look.
Because I guess it matters, right?
On that one, it does. I mean, I think Ravens on that one for me, just because of, like, yes, I understand everything what you're saying with Buffalo, but Ravens are they're so good. And when when you've played a season or when you haven't even played a season, like, you got to go with the guys that have the better roster, right? Like, you got to go with the ones that have a better roster. Buffalo's at home.
Okay. And I guess I think that gives a buff to Buffalo, obviously, because playing in Buffalo, I think, is really hard, especially with that crowd. But, and that franchise is amped right now, too. But, this is kind of a side tangent, but I was thinking about it while we were talking about this. But with Derrick Henry, how long do you think this is going to keep going? Like, do you think do you think we start to see decline this season in Derrick Henry? Because you could kind of see it last year. He just didn't move as well as he used to, but he's still a wrecking force of nature. You know, he's still going downhill very well. He's just like you could see he wasn't moving nearly as well as he was like let's say back on the Titans, right? It's not the same Derrick Henry, but he had like his best season. I feel like I don't know Derrick Henry numbers off the top of my head. He's been in the league for however many years at this point, but it feels like he's just so ageless. But I mean, with the running back position, he's been. I mean, damn it, I feel like he's been here forever. I mean, he was back up to DeMarco Murray. Like, isn't that insane? Like, so it's. I'm curious to see what you think about Derrick Henry kind of moving forward.
I mean, with Derrick Henry, with me, it's the offense thrives on obviously the option game and
Mm-hmm.
having very quick options for Lamar to have and hitting, someone like Zay downfield. You have two fully healthy tight ends coming back. Mark Andrews is a red zone machine.
Yep.
You have Isaiah Likely, who's almost like a wide receiver. Like Lamar's got very, very good options to go to. But when you have Derrick Henry, it's pretty hard to just not give him the ball every single time. But then you see Lamar with the ball and you're like, wow, that's the exact opposite of what Derrick Henry does. Because Derrick Henry just lowers his head and here comes the boom.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lamar just does everything under the sun that's not, I mean, every now and then he'll truck somebody, but like quarterbacks aren't going to put themselves in that situation, right? My thing with Derrick Henry is that you could see a little bit of a decline last year, but you know how much money this guy invests in his body?
Yeah.
And like, you know how much money that everything in terms of these like team facilities and just everything that they have going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, man. I understand why you don't want to pay running back because it all it takes is like one season and it's over, just like Dallas did. Like Dallas has paid running backs a lot. DeMarco Murray and didn't necessarily pan out.
Mm-hmm.
You had Zeke that didn't necessarily pan out. You had other guys in the early 2000s that didn't necessarily pan out. So it's one of those positions. It's tough, but I think if anything, I don't think you could see Derrick Henry falling off a cliff this year.
I don't think so. I'm just curious to see how much of that decline. I mean, we see it so often. Like, obviously, we've seen it with running backs. I mean, very near and dear was Ezekiel Elliott. Like, I feel like he had 3 good years, and then every single year after that, it was like, okay, he's just getting worse every single year, and it's pretty obvious, right? And I like to forget the year when he wore that big ass towel, but it
That was rough luck.
it's curious. I'm just curious because like I mean Derrick Henry has been in the NFL since like it feels like 10 years at this point, and that's just so much
Yeah.
longer than a running back is supposed to be effective. And you see guys like Saquon, Christian McCaffrey. I mean Christian McCaffrey still doing it is insane, but he's gone through however many injuries. His body is like basically built on I feel like surgeries and metal at this point, and it's one of those things where Derrick Henry is like, yeah, he takes really good care of his body, but at the same time, like I mean, you can only do so much once you start
For sure.
aging. So it's very. I'm curious to see. I mean, some guys are timeless. Some guys like Tom Brady, they just keep going, and some guys like Drew Brees, you can just see the ball starting to pitter patter. Same with in the air and stuff like that. So I don't know. Kind of curious though. I'm curious to see how long the King keeps being the King because I mean he's awesome, and I'd love to continue to see him break all kinds of records because I think that would just be so cool in the modern day NFL.
Definitely. And we've got the last one on Monday. We've got the Bears and the Vikings.
I didn't know we had one more. My bad.
You're good, dude. We got one more.
Yeah, they'll give me the Vikings. I think JJ McCarthy. Obviously, we went through those predictions, and I'm higher on him than I would say most people. I mean, it takes a special kind of breed to let a quarterback go who threw for like 37 touchdowns and like under 10 interceptions with Sam Darnold and like it's like 4,300 yards or something like that, right? Like he went absolutely off when he was on the Vikings. Now, was that because he was driving the Lambo and he didn't crash it, right? Or is that just because he was that good? We're gonna see when JJ McCarthy comes in, but for them to be this like gung ho about a guy for the last 2 years, I mean, we've heard nothing but McCarthy's the next guy. Sam Darnold's a replacement for right now. McCarthy's the next guy. I mean, during preseason last year, we saw him play a little bit, and then he got injured, and it's like, it's fine. McCarthy's still the guy, though. Like they've never moved off of that rock, and now we're about to see if it's gonna be, sitting behind like a Patrick Mahomes type situation where it's like, obviously he didn't get hurt, but like, we'll see what he can do given, I guess, the somewhat of rest and kind of learning and development time that they've given him. But everything that they've seen in practice says that he's the guy. And I can't say that he isn't if they're that confident from moving on from the best career or the best season Sam Darnold's ever had.
Give me the Bears.
You just like Caleb Williams.
I'm gonna give him another shot. You
Did-
know what I mean?
Did what you see in preseason give you a lot of confidence in this pick?
I don't watch preseason.
Did you see Caleb at all in the preseason?
No.
All right, cool. Well, that's fine. JJ McCarthy didn't play either, so I guess it doesn't really matter, at least in this comparison. But he didn't look great. He was not bad. Now, I'm not going to say that he wasn't good, but like his backup and Tyson Bagent almost played the same level as him, and I don't know if that's good or bad. But, it's Ben Johnson, new offense. I think it's like, what is it? Like, how many years has he been in the NFL? This is his second, right? So 2 offenses in 2 years. Kind of tough. I mean, he's
You know what? I'm just going for the Bears here because I think we've picked every single game the same. So we need to have one game that's different.
That's fair.
So it's me.
It's hard.
I draw the short end of the
It's
stick,
hard
and I
because
gotta
you're
go
just
Bears.
kind of going off of last year. But yeah, it's
My thing with Caleb is it's challenging because when you watch someone as heavily as I did with Caleb in college and that season that he had, and even when he wasn't hitting that much in USC, you still saw flashes. But in the NFL, it's flashes, right? Like
It's been
it's
mostly
just not the
flashes.
consistent thing, which is tough, and you can't argue anything because that offense is so good. And so it's like there's so many weapons. They only got better. They got more weapons in the draft than the offseason. So it's like we'll see. And this is JJ McCarthy's first start and first full game. And like I watched a lot of JJ McCarthy in college, and he had some great games, but he also had some games that were a little iffy. And you know how I am in terms of college quarterbacks and not being able to have as many games under your belt as you would like with a Drake May, right? With guys like a Zach Wilson. Like these guys didn't play that many seasons in terms of starting in the NCAA. And so it's like, for me, I would rather have them play way more seasons than that. And JJ didn't necessarily play the most either. But hey, we'll see what happens. And like you said, it's like driving a Lamborghini. You got a lot of shiny pieces. Jordan Addison's not there week 1, but TJ Hawkinson, you got Justin Jefferson, arguably 1, 2, or 3.
Adam Thielen's
whoever
back.
you're talking to. Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to, I mean, I really want Chicago to look like the Lions from last year. Like I want them to just ground and pound DeAndre Swift, play action off of it, go deep, like what Caleb was doing in college with Jordan Addison, right? Where he's just absolutely ripping these just streaking routes and Jordan Addison's just boom, touchdown. Like I want to see more of that from Caleb. I want to see more of the college stuff. So I think Ben Johnson, he's a, wicked smart dude. And I think he's going to get some nuances in this offense. I really want him to just get Caleb going, easy completions. I mean, he's got a carousel of wide receivers over there. And like their tight end situation isn't bad either, or offensive line. Like everything got a whole lot better from last year. And I mean, they went out and they got like offensive linemen, right? So I'm curious. I think they'll be better, but I just want to see them establish the running game. Because if you're going to ask Caleb to sit and pick apart defense, I think you lose 10 times out of 10, right? Like, unfortunately for Caleb, I don't think he's at that level yet. But especially with the Minnesota defenses, that is a lot better than I think people give them credit for. At least last year they were. But I mean, they had like some of the most turnovers in the NFL last year too, which is crazy. But we'll see. It's kind of an unknown factor with JJ McCarthy, I think. So I think that could give them the edge for sure. And Caleb is he's not like a product, he's not like a done product at this point, but you at least kind of know what you're getting, right?
You do. You kind of know what you're getting. Now, to the NCAA portion of the episode. I mean, you're freaking Buckeyes. I mean, that's one of the greatest, not like greatest games I've ever seen.
It was a great game, though.
It was a great game, but not one of the greatest games I've ever seen, but one of the greatest matchups in terms of opening and starting right away at 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
had the brisket smoked for 20 hours, it was unbelievable time at the fantasy draft going. Beers were flowing. But how in the world do you open up against Ohio State at home? I mean, going into the game, everybody said that it was going to be a defensive battle, and it was a defensive battle. And Arch had one amazing deep throw, but other than that, it was pretty quiet on terms of the offensive side on both sides of the ball.
Mhm.
There wasn't a ton of offensive production on both sides of the ball, but 14-7, your Buckeyes go out there and get the job done against the number one team in the nation, UT. I mean, what'd you see from your Buckeyes and the true freshman himself starting quarterback as well?
Mr. Julian saying, I thought he did. I mean, funny enough, right back to what we were talking about, I thought he drove the Lamborghini very well. All right. I thought that he didn't crash it. He drove it pretty straight. There's a lot to work on, but I think, you know, was he better than Arch? I don't know because they were both like non-existent in that game. I think Arch had a lot more of a spotlight on him, but in his first ever NCAA start, I think he did okay. Like he's not. You look at what Ryan Day said. Everyone's talking about him before that game, and they're like, "Oh, what does Julian Sayin have to do to kind of impress you? What does he have to do in his first start?" And Ryan Day just goes out there and said, "Win. That's it. I just want to win. I don't really care what happens. I want to win. It's been a quarterback battle. Uh, excuse me, but it just go out there and win. Like he's got Jeremiah Smith, you got Carnell Tate, you got some absolute dogs on offense, and they just reload. Caleb Downs on defense, like we know they're gonna be good. Like we know that defense is gonna kind of control the game, even though they lost some guys into the NFL drafts, of course, but it's still a pretty dang good defense. And I think Texas and them were like 1-2 last year in defense, and I mean that's exactly what happened in this opening matchup. So you saw a lot of throws, I think, from Arch that were uncharacteristic. I think at least what we've seen of him, right? But there were some throws in there where I was like, I just don't like that's over his head. Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, there's the interception. It's like he just jumped the route. Like that was pretty easy. Jump the route. Like I'm surprised Arch didn't kind of throw it out and away from the receiver. So it's it's hard to say if the defense was like that amazing or if it was just two teams who have new starting quarterbacks at the beginning of the season were kind of ramping up into getting into like a midseason form, right? So I think it's a little bit of both, but obviously love what the Buckeyes did. I think they keep ground and pound, they keep on that running attack, and then play action with Julian Sayin. I think that he had a fantastic deep ball to Carnell Tate in that game, which was the reason they won. I mean, they won by 7, I guess, but and you heard the commentators going on about it, like it's going to be a big play from someone on Ohio State, and you're just kind of waiting for who, and you're waiting for Jeremiah Smith, but I mean they got another NFL wide receiver on the other side with Tate, so
Yeah, they do.
it's the same. It's like back when Marvin Harrison and Emeka Buka, like that's kind of what it feels like again, and two different type of receivers, but again, like I love Carnell Tate. I think he's going to be a fantastic receiver in Ohio State. They know how to make them. So I liked what I saw a lot. I just want to see Julian Sayin progress through the season. Obviously, that's one of the toughest games I would say, if not the toughest that they'll have to play this year. Penn State's up on. I want to say they do play Penn State. That might be the toughest, but
I mean, number one UT. That's
yeah, I get it, but are they actually
that's
number
early
one?
season.
It's
That's
early
early season
season.
UT.
Michigan's at the end of the year. That's really the game everyone's looking at because they haven't beaten them in forever. So it's a good start early. So I like it, but I think Texas is a hell of a team too. I don't think that this is any knock on Texas. I still think that they're probably one of the best teams in college football on paper. Just all around as a roster, and their defense is absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't know how many. All offseason I've just been seeing like 5-star, 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 5-star linebacker, defensive end, cornerback. And I'm like, God, I'm like, there's so many. So they're gonna be good for a long time. But that defense is just gonna get better and better and better and better. So I like it, man. I don't remember, and this might be a way out of left field question, but they had a couple defensive linemen, and the one I remember particularly, he was just getting home pretty much every single time, and he was just this massive dude. I don't remember his name. We'll come and talk about him draft time. I'm sure we will, but
A lot of Buckeyes.
A lot of Buckeyes,
Buckeyes will be
but I'll
talked
say
about. I think it was like, what was it? They said there's like 12 projected, like potential first and second round picks on both the defenses, and it's like that is
it's crazy.
absurd.
But that's what you watch football for. Like I love those defensive battles. I think they're so much
Yeah.
fun. And it really was just like who's going to put their nose in the ground and who's going to hit you harder. And that's college football. And that was a beautiful thing on the first game of the NCAA for the season. So I think both teams have a long way to go. But early start, obviously Ohio State's defense is, at least right now, probably looks like the best in the country. If not number one or two, right? So we'll see what happens with Penn State and some of those other guys. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope they keep ground and pound.
It was interesting to me because like obviously watching UT and just watching, the train the hype train that is Arch Manning, it's like you wonder how a kid's going to go out there and perform, because it's like you wonder what level that these kids have been in that spotlight, because it's like you go back and you think of quarterbacks that got taken number one overall. Like you can't say that Cam Ward had like a massive spotlight on him. You could say that Trevor Lawrence had a really big spotlight on him in Clemson. You could say that technically Tua had a pretty big one, but he wasn't. I mean, you could say Tua because the whole Jalen thing. You can't say Jalen Hurts.
Bryce Young. I think his
Yeah, but I'm
spotlight is
talking
huge.
I'm talking like Arch Manning has been famous because of that last name. You know what I mean? Like the level of fame that kid has, and the level of
I see.
I mean, just coaching and everything that he's had from such a young age. But like I've said this a lot when I watch Arch, and this isn't just because he's at UT, and I went to A&M, or because he's a Manning and I don't like the Mannings. Like, yeah, Eli, kind of went 8-8 against the Cowboys all the time and won the Super Bowl. Like I don't hold any ill will against him. You know what I mean? And some of those Super Bowl games were absolutely insane. Ruin a perfect season. Like, okay, Peyton was unbelievable.
Cinderella runs happen, and Eli just happens to have two of the greatest ones.
Yeah, and Peyton, unbelievable. You know what I mean? Peyton single-handedly won me a fantasy championship when he broke that record in RG3's rookie year. But with Arch, you have everybody that's like, oh, number one overall pick. It's like, you got to let stuff play out. You know what I mean? You have to let stuff play out. In this game in particular, there was a lot of bad throws. A lot of bad throws. A lot of missed throws. Specifically, like a lot of missed throws. Now, it's the first game of the season. This is why usually teams have tune-up games, because you get those kinks out and you get up to speed and everything. So
yeah,
Ohio State at Ohio State's a little gutsy. I understand the call. I understand with the college football playoff and the expanded college football playoff that realistically you can go there being UT and have 2 losses. And this loss is a loss, but at the same time, 7 points.
It was so close.
At Ohio State when you got stopped on the goal line, like what, twice when you're UT?
0-2 in the red zone.
Right? Twice?
I think it's
so
twice.
It's like, yeah. And so it's like you could argue that game was 21-14 and UT could have had it if they had those 2. So it's like when you're the college football playoff in the committee and you're actually picking those games at the end of the season, and that's not saying that UT is going to not play for an SEC championship, right? They still could. And you look at the rest of their record or the rest of their season, and they've got some dogs because they're in the SEC, but UT obviously holds their own destiny. And there's a reason they're the number one team in the nation. Like they have a really, really good team all around, and they have a really good running back who they really didn't even utilize that much. They have some great receivers as well. They have some really good offensive talent in general. The defense is pretty dang good, which what you're not used to seeing. But when you go to the SEC, you have to have a good defense to compete. And
let's not forget too. I mean, Arch has. I mean, yeah, this is his first game of the year, but at the same time, like how much time has he even played outside of this? Like that he could even be considered
a couple games where he's gone in and that's it.
A few quarters, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Not a lot.
That's his whole college career.
Quinn held that spot down.
Yeah, and it's not surprising. I'll say that, especially when you look at some of these other freshmen that are starting across the country. Like Julian's saying, it's just he's nervous. It's a big spot. Like he's never done that before. He's never been in a situation that he has to go and beat the best team in the country or a top 10. Like he's been in the playoffs, sure, and they got thrown in. But then what did he do in that playoff game? Like nothing. Like it didn't feel like he was the guy. Like it's still It's still everything. So, but continue. I mean, it's kind of baffling how much football he hasn't played and how everyone expects him to be the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, and like when you realistically think about it, like you've had quarterbacks like I mentioned earlier, those, the Drake Mays and all those guys that have not played a ton of college football, like a couple seasons, not like a Jaden Daniels who played like 5 years, right? You had these guys that played 2 seasons. That's what Arch is going to be.
Yeah,
And that's,
we'll see.
you know, I believe that Arch is going to stay because Peyton and Eli stayed. And like, let's get real. It's Arch Manning. You go to the University of Texas, and the NIL is making more money than like rookie contracts. It seems like at this point, because I mean, Arch. I mean, it was reported he was making like 7 something, and that was just like for some endorsements, right? Like every commercial that was on during that game was Arch. like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it seemed like every commercial I saw was like a UT player Arch, and I was like, that's really cool. That's really different. But right, like, so why would you not stay? And so for me, he's going to stay the couple years. He's going to continue to get better, and that team's really good. So we'll see what happens later on in the season, and let's see the UT A&M game at the end of the year, because that's going to be a really fun one, especially with that rivalry and how deep that runs. But another game that was honestly pretty shocking. Shout out to my hockey friend Walter. Florida State University versus Alabama. He called that one before that game even started. I
That's
thought he was
awesome.
insane. That was insane.
I mean, talk about the balls. I don't remember the quarterback's name, unfortunately, but he goes out and says, "We're going to kick the ever living shit out of these Alabama boys now that Nick Saban's gone. Boo hoo." And then he goes out there and kicks the ever living shit out of these Bama boys without Nick Saban. It makes them look like they're back down, you know, in the like in it's not looking good over there in Bama. I mean, they got destroyed. It wasn't even close. I mean, this kid, he looks fantastic, and I don't know. Again, I don't remember Alabama's starting quarterback, but he just did not look good. He did not look comfortable. He's got so much wet. I mean, these are 5 stars across the board, and you can't really get anything done against a Florida State school full of transfers, And I thought it was funny enough that that quarterback for Florida State was the Boston College quarterback who beat them last year at the first game of the season, if you remember. And then he comes over to Florida State and then gets them a dub in the first week of the season against number 8 Alabama, which is a really cool story. And Florida State looks like they're going to be rocking this year. And I love it when that stadium's rocking. I mean, I feel like it's one of the toughest places to play in college football when they're good,
That stadium atmosphere is unbelievable, and that game was just great. You know what I mean? Like Florida State with the upset, Alabama not losing a home opener in so long, and then Florida State just comes in and says, "Yeah, no, we're going to go ahead and end that." And then we'll end it this week because A&M has some. No, we're not going to say a cupcake game, but we're going to say a game that I think we can already kind of call a win there. We're going to do the schedule prediction next week because there's not a ton of matchups in college football next week aside from the Michigan matchup. There's not a ton, but A&M and UTSA recap. Last thing on this episode. First half scared me a little bit. Not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. First half was a little some there in Aggie land. And then second half came in and the game pretty much just kind of took over itself. But what'd you see with A&M? And like I mentioned, we'll get into their schedule next episode because we'll be here every week from now on. But what do you think about A&M and that UTSA game? I mean, that first half was scary, but then it kind of looked like to me Marcel Reed and the offense woke up, and then they trusted one of the best running backs in the nation, is what it seems like.
Yeah, and A&M is just that's how they. It feels like at least since I've been going to school there, they've been just a ground pound team, and I like what Elko's doing. Same thing, just go in there. We're gonna run the football, and we're gonna get some opportunities kind of off of that. And they've always felt like a pro style offense, and obviously that's been kind of with Jimbo, but with Elko, this is his second year, and you're kind of just wanting an improvement. You want to see Marcel Reed get better. Like we know he can run, right? We know he's fast, but can he throw the football? And that's kind of everyone's asking, like, can he throw the football? And when I was watching that game, I saw him make a lot of big time throws. Now I also saw him miss a couple, right? But I thought that he played pretty dang well. I think that he was playing confidently. I thought that he was played a whole. I think he already looks better than he did last season throwing the football, and I think
Which is what you want to see in the first game.
exactly. And he's a sophomore, right? So it's gonna this if he's already starting like this, you're only hoping for what could come. But if he gets dangerous throwing the football, then it's going to be a very, very dangerous offense to stop. And I think that defense is also very good. In most years, A&M puts out a pretty good defense with a couple, maybe one, maybe two first round picks, coming out of that. I feel like it almost happens. And on this defensive line, they just keep reloading them. So I like what they're doing over there in Aggieland. I think it's cool that they're already ranked, and I think it's cool that they're there just feels like it's much less expectations, I think, this year for A&M, because last year they go up against Notre Dame in the season opener, and they just don't look very good. And it didn't really recover, I feel like, for the rest of the season. They had a couple uncharacteristic losses. They had a couple really cool dubs, like over LSU and stuff like that. So, they're going to have to play some dogs again this season. I'm waiting for that South Carolina game. That game's going to be crazy. But Lenore Sellers is insane. But it's going to, the SEC's absolutely loaded this year, so I don't think A&M takes that next step this year, unfortunately, but I think that they are trending upwards, and I think Marcel Reed looks a lot better than he did already. So I think that the future is looking up for them, and I just keep ground and pounding, man. Keep running that football. It's just going to take more pressure off of him, and it's a hard place to play in Aggieland, and I mean, they're going to play some pretty good opponents this season. So we'll see kind of how he tests up against an actual SEC defense, before we start saying that he's going to be the next, guy over there in Aggieland, right? He's fast, but is he Johnny Fast? Oh, Sawyer breaks there, fella. So we'll see. But I like what Elko's doing. Transition was a tough period, but getting through it.
We're getting through it, and we'll see. We'll see. Right now, they're undefeated, so it feels good.
Right now, they have a better record than Texas and Alabama.
Play UTSA, but I'm kind of right there with you, echoing all the same points that you echoed. With Marcel Reed, you really just wanted to see some progression in the passing game, because like you said, he can run, he's a dual threat, and with the ability of these running backs and how good they are, with Marcel Reed being able to run as well, that's a whole nother ball game in terms of the option play and the short passes that you can get into, because of how good Marcel Reed is at running the ball and how much of a threat these running backs are coming out of the backfield. You can't not load the box against A&M, and you can't not have a quarterback spy against A&M, which means that there's going to be some single coverage on the outside, and all you got to do is beat your guy, right? So we'll see what happens when the season continues to progress. But yeah, the SEC looks good this year.
Did you notice
it makes me feel like I'm back in school when South Carolina is good, because I was there whenever South Carolina had Jadeveon Clowney, and I remember him rolling into College Station. It was the blackout game, and I was like, this is so sick. And then watching him warm up, I was like, okay, this is going to be fun.
I think it's very cool because A&M's in this little new era that they kind of felt like they were in with Johnny, with like all the hype in the jerseys. Because when they were with Jimbo, I feel like the jersey game was just so awful. It was just unbearable to watch. It was like, oh my God, are we Alabama? Why do we have just numbers on maroon? Can we get like a black jersey or a white jersey? It's like, yeah, we can. And they look good now. And we have black jerseys this season. So I think it's going to be really cool. But another thing too, I saw with Marcel in that game, I don't know if it was a point from Elko, and we can kind of wrap up after this, but a lot of sitting in the pocket, a lot of pocket presence from Marcel in that game. It really looked like they were trying to kind of not transform him into a pocket passer by any means, but they were really trying to throw from the pocket. They were like, okay, you're going to make it. You're going to read through your progressions. You're going to do all this and then run if you have to. And he did, of course he did. But I feel like every time he was pass first pretty much every single time. He was, instead of like running for 5 yards, right, he would chalk it down to a running back, right? And then it would be a little, dink and dunk play. And it's like, oh, that wasn't there last year. Like that wasn't there. He was not as big of a presence in the pocket. So that's kind of where I'm collecting my thoughts from, but just a lot more plays designed for passing, which is cool. At least I hope it's cool. I want them to kind of hopefully get into the more dual threat kind of thing as the season goes along. You don't want to play your cards too early or get Marcel Reed hurt early. But in those big SEC games, I do hope they kind of mix it up a little bit because I don't want him throwing 30 times a game. I don't think he will, but it's just one of those things that just to look out for, I think.
I think they'll definitely mix it up with the option game because of what they can do and how good Marcel Reed is on the option game. And you're right, you can't show your cards early. You got LSU, you got Texas, you got all these teams coming up, right? You got South Carolina, you got so many good teams. You got Notre Dame. But yeah, we'll talk more Aggies next week. We'll go through their schedule because Tanner and I got them going 2-0. If you don't know who they're playing this week, just go ahead and Google them. You know what I mean? Go ahead and Google and see what teams on the rise.
They are. Isn't it Utah State? Sorry, I'm gonna give it away. But aren't they also the Aggies?
I don't know if it isn't it.
I thought Utah State were the Aggies. I think aren't they the Aggies? Because Utah's
is
the
it Utah
Utes.
State?
Isn't Utah State?
Oh, I was thinking. Okay, I was thinking the end of the season, November 22nd, Samford.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
What a matchup right before UT. Like goodness, but
they are the Aggies.
We'll get into that.
They got the Aggie Bowl in week 2.
Yeah, there we go. We got that one. But we'll get into that next episode. We'll talk Cowboys more. We'll be back every week, and then we'll be here until the end of the NFL draft. You know what I mean? But Tanner, it was good to be back. You know, next time, folks, we'll see if I can get a light in here other than a nightlight that I got pointed at my face. If you're still watching YouTube,
I got a lot.
You know, it's been fun. It's been real, and it's good to be back.
We're back. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.